CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode. Good afternoon, Private Branch.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
According to these notes, you had a recent assignment from the farm upstate requesting a prototype piece of tech.
Yes, ma'am. The prototype tech was being possessed by Tempestia's unit, and we decided to fulfill that need since it aligned with one of our own.
Before we get there, I'd like you to tell me about your interactions with Empress Gold of the Early Birds.
So that was their faction. Ma'am, if I can be perfectly honest, I didn't realize that was Empress Gold until after the captain had mentioned it. And I didn't realize they were running the event until they had told me in that moment. They seemed very... What's a polite way of saying elegant yet rude?
Imperious.
Imperious. That's a good word. I like that word. But, yeah, they seem to know a lot about the event itself. Very much someone who likes things done their way and done in a certain manner. And does not...
Speaking of things done in a certain manner, did you feel it was appropriate to draw their attention to an in-progress DFS covert operation?
I mean, ma'am, if I can be perfectly frank, I was just trying to get us a good catering deal. Just something to keep people busy, and our target just happened to be there.
I see. Now tell me about Needs Must.
Welcome, listeners and viewers, to CalazCon, and specifically to the exploits of a ragtag group of definitely not assassins known as PizZA. This episode is sponsored by the one and only Proxy Tango, and our squad sponsor is John Kings IV. I am Matthew Guzdial. You can find me on Twitter at MatthewGuz. I am also joined by Mark.
Hi, that's me. I'm Mark. You can find me at all the places. My last name is Major, M-A-J-C-H-E-R, and that's where I am on the internet, on Twitter, on itch.io, and I just opened a gumroad.com store, so check it all out.
I'm also joined by Cole.
Hi there, I am Cole. My pronouns are he, they. And you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Tumblr at IceColdBrew. You can also listen to me talk about tabletop RPGs over at Inside the Table. That's at Inside the Table on Twitter and on co-host as well.
It's really good. I'm also joined by Alex.
Hey, I'm Alex, he, him. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch over at First Five Review, and you can also find me on YouTube at First Five, where I talk about video games.
Awesome. I'm also joined by Jake.
Hey, I'm Jake Pritchard. You can find me at jpritchard on co-host.
Perfect. With everyone introduced, let's introduce our squad a bit. So, decades ago, there were rumors across the Democratic Federated Systems of zero accountability, or ZA, or ZA, or ZA, if you were a certain type of rebellious youth. This Wetworks squad accomplished incredible feats of stealth and assassination over the span of 5 years, perhaps most famously engaging, but never defeating, Tempestia of the Noontide Squall. These deeds have since taken on a nearly mythic status, and even inspired a Calazar spin-off series, or so they say. Months ago, a high-ranking DFS agent by the name of Antonia Pai launched a plan to recreate the old zero accountability. But with the arrival of CalazCon, these plans changed. From the chaos of CalazCon arose PizZA, A ramshackle wetwork squad who has somehow managed to rack up some wins while keeping their cover as a pizza delivery/restaurant, serving some truly horrendous pizza to the con's more hungry and indiscriminate attendees. Their goal, given to them by Antonia Pi, is to eclipse their namesake by doing what they never could: kill Tempestia. Today, we'll start their story. Specifically, we'll begin in the underground bunker deep beneath the pizza delivery center and restaurant in Praxian Plaza. We're in a meeting room, sleek, well-kept. A thrum of air ventilation fills the silence, a complete contrast to the loud, greasy mess above ground. Inside this room, we meet our 4 pilots. Let's go down the list. Who are you, and what are you doing while you wait for Antonia to arrive? Mark.
I am Topo Toxotai. I am the squad's scout. I'm kind of a younger, scruffy kid. Used to be a street kid. Ran with some bad folks. Got picked up. Ran with some worse folks. And now I'm here and pretty much just doing the, sitting with one leg over the arm of the chair, waiting for someone to tell me, point me at something.
Perfect. Cole, how do we find Dorian?
Dorian currently is shuffling through this variety of trading cards of different mechs from CalazCon, and going through them and just like very carefully like putting them in like a little pocket sleeve. Dorian is a fairly youngish, kind of bright individual. They have a long sleeve shirt with the CalazCon emblem printed on it. They have a green hair dyed across the shaved side of their head and a black undercut, a little bit of a goatee. Not someone you would really expect to run with a kill squad, but that's what happens when you're the rookie. Literally stumbling into your way into an elite squad and expected to make the most of it. Yeah. Just very calmly putting cards in and just kind of humming the theme of the 3rd season, the one that they actually got into under their breath the entire time. Dorian's pronouns are he, they as well.
Yeah, we didn't get that from Topo, but Topo's the scout and they're they, them, right, Mark?
That is correct. They, them.
Cool. Alex, where do we first see the Mariner, our captain?
Mariner, yeah.
Mariner.
Hi, I'm playing Laren Hetsford. He is a kind of middle-aged, little bit of a burly guy.
Mm-hmm.
Career naval officer, but he wouldn't look it right now because he is, also posing as a pizza store manager with a somewhat conspicuous pizza cap that is not a baseball cap, but a military, like an infantry cap.
Awesome.
I think he is presently at the table conferring with his second in command, or rather, the ability is number 1 as the captain. Laren's ability is that he gains a second in command specialist cohort who is a little AI, she, her, named Memo. That he calls Mem for short, and I think the two are conferring at the table about, last minute details, wondering where Antonia might be.
Perfect. Jake, where do we first see Ghost?
Yeah, so I'm playing Azara Sky, who is the squad's infiltrator. Azara came through the pizza shop and got an espresso from the crappy coffee machine, and is sort of swirling around the bottom of the cup. Feet on the table, head back, eyes closed, trying to get a little bit of rest, if not, not sleep necessarily, but rest, waiting for Antonia to come in.
And come in she does. So Antonia Pi enters the room. She is a middle-aged black woman, career bureaucrat. She has a sort of quiet smile, a little maybe of a smirk on her face pretty much all the time. I have written here that she has gaslit, gatekeeped, and girl boss her way into this position. She's not going to stop now. So she walks up to the monitor behind you all and walks you through the briefing. Without any introduction, she says. Yeah, straight into it. Tempestia plans to flee Logel. We must take every chance we can to allay her. For this reason, and due to various political pressures, we've taken an order from the farm upstate for a delivery to one of Tempestia's aides. Needs must, he, they. At this point, I think that the monitor flashes, and you can see an image of the one and only Needs must pop up. He's not actually in the room, don't worry, but that's on the screen now. Probably like a blurry photo of him stepping in or out of a car. It's sort of like a model shot, I think. Needs is carrying some experimental piece of Evangelion tech, and the farm upstate wants it. We want him dead. It's a win-win. Intel says he'll be attending a mech-in theater showing of the niche Calazar OVA Labyrinth Rose Secret Memories Re/Versed in the outskirts of Praxian Plaza, closest to Hall H. I don't care if you do it before, after, or during the film, but make sure it can't be traced back to the DFS. Questions?
Yeah. How big is this experimental piece of tech?
Also, what is it?
Antonia's face turns cross, very frustrated here, and she says, the farm upstate has been somewhat withholding with that information. We know that he'll have it inside of his mech. It is a mech-in theater experience, after all. But the exact size we're unsure. We believe he'll be with a small escort, maybe 2 to 5 units.
Ma'am, do we know what the name of Needs Must Mech is and what's it designed to look like?
Let's see, would you know that? Or would that be something you would need to look into? I guess you would probably know, right? Specifically, Antonia would probably know, given her fixation on killing Tempestia. So yes, she says, his mech is called the Nightjar, and all Evangelion mechs are named after animals. And it looks, and she clicks a little indicator and pops up another slide. It looks like this. So it's got this sort of bird head to it, red glowing eye. In terms of scale, this is a medium-sized mech.
Does it have a giant, terrifying mouth like a nightjar does?
Yes.
It's actually how you get into the mech.
Great.
Yeah.
So when the farm upstate mentioned that this piece of tech was going to be in the mech, are we talking like something sitting in the cockpit that we gotta yank out, or is this something actually installed on the mech and we're gonna have to break out wrenches?
Mariner, to be honest, I don't know, and I don't have the time to look in on it. I trust all of you. She pauses for a moment at all of you. Decides on it, yeah, all of you, with being able to look into these things yourself.
All right, well, we'll get it done.
That's what I like to hear.
Oh, actually, the small escort, is that a mechanized cavalry, or is it going to be just folks walking around in rifles to do something about it?
Mechanized, almost certainly.
Mm-hmm.
I might know this, but just for clarification, is he going to be participating in the event, or will he just be there?
He'll just be there. So this mech-in theater is just a drive-in theater, but everybody's in their mechs.
Oh.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. It's a very dumb bit that I'm doing here.
No, that's good.
And
I had grand visions of like participating. That makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and you all also know where it is, so I'm going to move you all back to the map. You can see this. I've added a big gray rectangle here. So that's where this is going to be. It's like on this corner in between Praxian Plaza and Hall H. But for everything else, you all are going to have to gather information.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now we can obviously flash back to this scene if need be, the earlier scene of you all in the meeting room. That is, of course, a mechanic here. But otherwise, if anybody has any thoughts about how they try to get more info so we can figure out an engagement role, I'd love to hear it.
Is this mech in theater at night, I assume?
Yes. I think you have a start time. I have no idea how time works on Logel. I'm going to assume it's 24 hours for ease. It's probably like 7 p.m. or something.
Right.
1900 hours, of course. You all are military. I have to say it like that.
Yeah.
And do we know where he's coming from?
No.
That sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah.
I think so. How would you go about trying to figure that out?
Do we know if he's on world already or if he's coming in from somewhere?
I think everybody is on world.
Okay.
Specifically, Tempestia's whole goal is to leave the planet, right?
Right.
Like, that's her squad goal. And so I assume that everybody's on world in Tempestia's squad.
Excellent.
I feel like in order to find out like where they're at, where they're coming in from, we would need to basically see like, well, Jovangelion usually hangs out over here, but we like past few reports shown the Nightjar has engaged at this area, this area, and this area.
Sure, yeah. That's to me sounds like maybe somebody going to give me a study.
I could do a study, and I have a ranger ability that when I gather information, I get +1 effect.
Oh, okay. So this is automatically going to be great. That's exciting.
I do only have 1 dot in study, however.
Yeah, well, 1 dot's better than no dots.
Yeah.
I do think this is just a fortune roll, so this is not even controlled. There's not going to be any consequences here. You're literally just going through like your own side's military data. There's no risk.
Great.
So give me
How are we rolling dice here? Are we doing it
in the roll 20? I've got a little thing that's tracking it. Anybody watching this is going to get to see you roll and get to see this weird little green creature that is my avatar.
Amazing. There we go.
Yeah, so give me a 1d6, please.
Look at
That
that.
is a 6.
You'd love to see it.
Oh, I just realized this. I don't think she told us what the rules of engagement were.
Oh, yeah. Flashback.
We all walk out of the room, and she's like, "Wait, hold on."
No, I think it's the other way around.
Wait.
I think,
One more thing.
I think she walked out of the room.
Oh,
And then
and Dorian's like, "Teacher."
Didn't we have homework to turn in?
Oh, man. She says, there are 3 things that must not be broken during this. 1, ensure the Jovangelians cannot confirm the DFS's involvement. They can think that it's some other hit squad. It doesn't matter. Just not the DFS. They can suspect it's the DFS. They just can't confirm it. 2, do not stop the OVA's broadcast. And she does not tell you anything else on that one. Pointedly. 3, do not allow the experimental tech to suffer harm beyond repair. Okay. So, we've got a 6 here, so you're going to get... And that was with great effect. Oh my goodness.
And it was with great effect.
Oh my goodness gracious, you're going to get so much information.
I'm good at this.
Incredible.
You're
That's
so
my job.
good at this. Yeah. Okay. So what happens here is I think you get a whole bunch of reports on the Nightjar showing up. And I think part of this being a 6 is that at first these reports seem super confusing because the Nightjar seems to pop up like everywhere. Like there's reports of like, Needs Must and the Nightjar were spotted in Artist's Alley. Oh, they were spotted in kaleidoscoping Seafoam. Oh, they were spotted in Curse. Oh, they were spotted at the Siege Line, etc., etc., etc. But what you, because, you're the scout, you're good at this, right? You managed to figure out that, all these reports in terms of where they're starting have this radius. And it's that what's happening is that he's using the Hestial storm drain complex. He's moving through this storm drain complex in the large enough tunnels there to be able to pop up all over Hestial.
Excellent.
So I can just go ahead and tell you the closest opening to this sort of spot right here is going to be at this intersection. So I'm going to go ahead and just I'll just freehand out a line here for you all. So in all likelihood, he'll be following this sort of path, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's going to stick to the roads, which he probably will, the Nightjar can fly, but especially the escort probably can't. So if he's going with an escort, he's probably sticking to the roads.
Do any of us have flight capability?
I do.
I have emergency flight capability, which is to say,
I
can jump really high.
I was gonna say my mech is not a mech; it is a plane. I have a mobility suite.
Mhm.
Oh, amazing. Maybe it might be worth trying to flush him out so that he leaves the safety of his escort, tries to fly away, and then someone pick him off from there while we keep the rest of them busy.
I also have this nifty thing called a ship catapult, which, is where... So to kind of describe my mech a little bit, it has these harnesses underneath where, like, the way I imagine it, the rest of the squad's mechs can all kind of, like, lock in, and it's kind of like they're dangling, like, from, like, a suspended roller coaster, sort of.
Right.
And it's supposed to launch you out. And, like, mechanically... It gives you basically, like you can hot drop in and you get an increased effect. As you hit the ground running. But I guess this also means narratively that I could, I probably can't do it midair, but we can just pick up the mech and, like attach it to the ship.
Nice.
I don't know. Looking at these rules of engagement, I think we're just, we're not going to worry about how big this piece of tech is. We're just going to steal the whole mech.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like the best thing to do, yeah.
The question is when we attack, when we sort of try to snatch and grab.
Yeah. It's a great question.
Out on the street seems a lot, like there could go a lot wrong.
Right.
Right.
So here's a thought I have. What if during the showing, during the broadcast for the mech in, one of us puts a tracker on the nightjar.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And then this way, and if we can come up with like a backup area of like, okay, if they're going this way, we can swoop in and, make them think they're being ambushed by a different squad.
Right.
And
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And if we track them into the Storm Drain complex, maybe he won't be able to fly away.
I mean, that
Maybe
could
I'm
also
done there.
tell us a lot about where Tempestia herself is hiding as well. Give us ideas as to where safe houses might be.
They're flying out after the show.
Another thing to keep in mind is that we have to kill him. We don't have to kill the mech.
Yeah.
That is,
We have to get the tech and kill him. So, depending on what the tech is, we could just give them sort of an empty mech to take back to their base, and we can track it.
True. I think we're getting close to a tactic here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a reminder, your options, this is on page 43, at least of the PDF. I don't know what this is in the actual thing. Your options here are assault, deception, scientific, social, stealth, and transport. If it's about tracking, this might be scientific. If like installing a tracker, it could be stealth. Or if it's just about, that's just sort of the setup, right? And what you really care about is the assault, then maybe it's assault.
Yeah.
I was even going to recommend it might just be a stealth plan, because what if we get to the nightjar during the show,
Right.
say, hey, food service, have him open up his mech, cap him.
Oh my god.
Or just give
with
him
all of
really
his
bad
friends
pizza
all
and
like
they'll take
right
care of
next
itself.
to him.
How close are they? Listen, I need y'all to understand how important this OVA is, okay? It has been locked behind a vault for 20 years and handled by only a bloodline of a family of animators, scriptwriters, with only 3 VOs who have been able to replicate certain voices over the years. This is how important this OVA is right now.
All of this is true. All of this is canon.
I think it's my favorite thing about this whole series is you can just say shit and it's true.
Yeah.
I will also point out, one of our squad XP goals is we get extra XP if we execute a successful accident, disappearance, murder, or ransom.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely should cap him and make it look like an accident.
So we want to do this during the show.
Say more on how you're going to cap someone
Yeah.
and make it look like an accident.
I mean, cat. I'm using the word. I'm using
metaphorically. Okay.
To cap,
okay.
as a variety of ways to kill.
Got it. This makes more sense. I was imagining you saying, "Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to make it look like a gun went off on accident."
Oops! Oh no!
Oh no! He was playing with his gun like he loved to do, and now he's
my
dead.
pizza delivery gun. It went off and accidentally shot bullets instead.
Whoopsie.
Okay, all right. So, okay, this is sounding increasingly more like a stealth thing. Then, if this is about trying to get in there undercover, right? Or deception. Actually, no, this sounds way more to like deception, right?
Yeah,
I think it makes sense if we are a squad that is posing as a pizza delivery squad.
Right.
Yeah.
To try to like do that pizza delivery.
Right.
Maybe and so then maybe the question is, who are the organizers of the show? That could then be a thing where we sort of get in with them and like offer to help them cater or something.
Totally.
Yeah.
This might be another gather information.
I can run out and go talk with the folks. See, I'm heading to a small little meet and greet. Maybe some of the folks there can tell me what's going on with the OVA.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm into this. I think that this is controlled, but this is not a fortune roll. There is risk here, right? Where is this happening? Paint me a picture.
I think this is out in like the artist alley for sure. I think it's one of the, because what's also happening at the same time, like before the OVA is shown, is a presentation of like the storyboard mock-ups for the OVA. And basically it's kind of like an art gallery viewing. But of course, if you go within 5 feet of any of the prints, an alarm system immediately activates and you are escorted out by security. You cannot be closer than 5 feet to these.
Yeah.
But, it's just a whole bunch of other fans of CalazCon who all want to enjoy this OVA, who are very excited about it. There's only, of these people, there's probably like 5 or 10 who are actually able to get tickets because, and one of them won it because they had a like mech costume contest where they were able to accurately represent one of the mechs that would be in Labyrinth Rose Secret Memories Reversed.
Thank you for saying the whole thing. It's important.
It's very important.
It's so important. Okay. Yeah, I love this. This to me sounds like you're doing this like openly and honestly. Is that true?
Yeah, I was thinking it's like a consort. Like I'm trying to pull information. Like, hey, I missed this on the forums. Who's actually putting it together?
Totally. Okay, yeah. Give me a 1d6. Okay.
I'll take a 4.
Yeah, that's standard. So yeah, I think that you find... Does anybody have a good name for this person?
I think this is a fairly tall person. Bit of scruff, and they actually have like a CalazCon. They're like a CalazCon super fan, so they actually have tattoos all down the arm. And this is Empress Gold.
Empress Gold. Nice.
Great name.
Is Gold just GOLD?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's they, them for Empress?
They, them for sure.
Okay. Love to be a they, them Empress. What's their vibe? To me, Empress Gold seems like somebody who has a very much like, how shall I put this nicely? A very large impression, a very positive notion of who they are and what they are.
Yeah, no, they definitely know who they are, but they speak in like a very relaxed tone the entire time.
Of course.
Just very casual and like kind of draws out everything.
So you're interested in the OVA.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I missed a few of the newsletters. Work, pizza delivery, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, but, of course.
Yeah, I was wondering who was hosting the OVA broadcast, because I'm going to try and see if I can get a few hours out of work and maybe see if they need some pizza delivery, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink.
I don't.
Oh. Okay. Well,
but you're in luck, darling. I'm hosting the OVA.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah, tell me what's the setup like over at that venue? it's a mecha and it's going to be pretty crowded from my understanding.
Yeah, we had to have a whole city block flattened for it. But it'll be worth it in the end.
Wow.
Oh no.
A whole city flattened, my gods. Is it like a 4 city blocks, 5x5 city blocks? Like how many? What's the actual attendance number? Just because I know some of the people some of the people who couldn't make it here were trying to sell their tickets online to help reimburse themselves.
Oh, they shouldn't be doing that.
Oh no, they don't. They shouldn't be. Well, I can get you the usernames if you'd like.
I would love that.
Yeah.
No, it'd be a fairly intimate gathering, just maybe 20, 30, maybe 40 mechs spread across what once was maybe 3 city blocks, so about 0.6 square miles, something like that.
Oh, wow. And
yeah, looking forward to it.
That's quite a feat. How long is the broadcast?
Oh, well, the cuts that have been online have only been about an hour, but we have the full thing, darling, so it'll be more like 90 minutes or so.
Ooh, I can't wait to see. I mean, that's amazing. I'm very curious to find out what the 30 minutes of missing footage.
Oh, no spoilers.
Shush. It's the anticipation that really makes that pay off that much more.
It is.
Out of curiosity to the rest of the squad, does anyone have any other questions they want me to ask as well?
What kind of security have they hooked up to keep their rabble out?
Yeah, or how many people do they have working?
Is this going to be a catered event, or do you have like some people to make sure everything's all nice and clean?
Well, we're doing a scrub beforehand, and of course we have some volunteer security, some of the mech cosplayers. But of course this is a fan event, so it's nothing so structured.
Of course. Wow, that sounds so nice and exciting. Any special previews beforehand as well too? Do you have the animators coming up to talk about the OVA beforehand?
Oh, I think they were all killed.
I'm gonna go mark that rumor off the mill as true. If that's the case, that is absolutely heartbreaking.
She does a big wink. But
Will they be doing a seance?
We're doing a seance live, darling. I'm bringing all my crystals.
Oh.
The O is very telling. All right. Anyone got any other questions? I'm kind of running on blank here.
I think that's about all you're going to get, given that you got a 4.
Yeah. Good to know. Well, Empress, thank you very much. And, if you ever need a slice of za, let me know, and I'll get you a slice of za on the house.
I appreciate it. What did you say your name was?
Oh, it is, they're not... Hold on, looking at my book covers real quick. My name is, Troubadour Tex.
Troubadour, it was a pleasure.
Of course. Gonna write that down.
I really hoped you were gonna say something like Borean Dranch or something.
Oh, God. Oh, I considered that, but nah. They're a rookie. Not that much of a rookie, but they're a rookie.
No. They've survived some jobs, some missions with his crew already.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a gather info, or do y'all feel like you have enough to do this thing?
I have 2 ideas, and I want to get a vibe check from the rest of the squad on which one seems like a better idea. One idea is because we still don't know what this tech is, and it feels like it would be easier to spy on our own a faction within our own, or a squad within our own faction rather than another one. So I thought about maybe sneaking around the farm upstate and maybe trying to get some information from them, which is fun, or trying to sneak in to the area that it is and get a better lay of the land of like where buildings are laid out and, kind of create a mental picture.
If you want to take care of the farm, I can scout out the area.
Cool.
I'd also love to get Laren instead of Topo, just because we already got some Topo.
Yeah, get it.
Laren, which one would you prefer? Not that you have to do either one of those, but
That's a really good question, because this could go both ways. Laren is not exactly a stealth person.
Right.
But he is the closest thing we have to a social person.
that's true.
And instead of sneaking, I was thinking he could
You could pull
just
rank.
go and
You
talk
just
to people in
negotiate
these
it, right?
places.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
But I don't know if I want him to just go over to the farm upstate and try to, ask them for more information.
Yeah.
Or if I want him to follow up on Dorian's efforts and see if he can get us on the grounds as caterers
Sure.
when he goes, when he goes over there to check it out.
Sure. I'm happy with either one of those. We could have one of you go ahead and do one of these things and then play that by ear in terms of the other half of that. That'd be fun.
I mean, again, I do love the messy complication of immediately spying on a squad within our faction. So I'm happy to do that if we're all cool with the definite consequences of this happening.
Super cool. I love it.
Absolutely.
Big fan of
Alright.
consequences.
Hell yeah. How do you go about spying on the farm upstate?
I guess the question of do we know where their HQ is? Do we know generally where they hang out? Or if not, the other thing I had in mind was finding a person, an NPC from the farm upstate, and then just following them.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
There is exactly one farm upstate NPC in the NPC list right now. That would be Willie Whitsend Mekawala. They, them pronouns. It says Whitsend they, them in parentheses. I don't know if that the whole thing is the nickname. Probably not. So yeah, you could try to track down old Willie and see what they're up to.
I guess, so here's a question.
Uh-huh.
This is also me selfishly seeing that I have 0 in Hunt.
Uh-huh.
I get the question. I guess the interesting thing is is it more interesting if I do follow them and then the role is me not getting caught sneaking into their base,
Right.
or is the interesting thing this person discovering me following them before, potentially before I even get there, so that they know that we're watching them. Basically,
Totally. I think both are really good.
I like it messy. I'm a bigger fan of the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that in that case, you spot Whitsend as they're leaving a coffee shop out in Praxian Plaza. One hand holding a coffee, the other hand laden down with 3 or 4 full binders. They're a bureaucrat. They're sort of mousy. And you follow them for a bit. What's the moment that they spot you?
Maybe I try to take a shortcut.
I like that.
I got a little overconfident thinking of where they were about to go, and I just walk directly in front. I bump into them basically.
Okay, I love that. They sputter. Who is? Watch where you're going. Wait, hold on. Have you been following me?
No. Have you been following me?
I don't do that.
Neither do I. So,
well,
why? Where are you going? You in a hurry?
I don't see how that's any of your business.
I'm just all right. Damn, I'm just asking.
Well, I'm going to be on my way.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Did something happen in that moment? Did you finesse something out of their pockets?
Yeah, I think when I bumped into them, I did the classic knock some stuff out of their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, I'm into that.
And I guess it's a question of how successful I was in this sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I do the give them back their papers and grabbed one.
Okay, cool. In that case, I think just give me a 1d6, yeah?
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
Ooh.
Never fail. Y'all will never fail. I should have set this up. I think this one was probably risky, honestly.
Sure, that seems fair.
But you know what? It doesn't even matter. So it's all good.
It'll totally be fine.
Okay, so what specifically were you hoping to get out of this?
I think I mainly want to know, is this something we can get out of the mech, or if it's embedded in the mech?
Or embedded in him.
or embedded, or
Totally.
if like where like I don't really care what the piece of tech is, transparently.
Right.
Mhm.
I just want to know how to get it.
No,
Yep.
totally. So I think what you find, I mean, honestly, you probably grabbed a few things, but the one that's relevant here is that you find the schematics for this. They don't have the thing, but they have like a partial schematic for it.
Mhm.
What it looks like is basically about the size of a VHS tape. And you can see that it was supposed to be disguised as a notebook, like a 3-ring notebook that you could be carrying around and write memos or whatever in. And you can see that the sort of underside of it has a sort of, future USB slot to it. And there's a spot designed in the nightjar to just like directly slot this in, as if you were like resting the notebook on top of the console, essentially.
Like a dock. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is. So it is small enough to carry for sure.
Okay. But it's decidedly something that goes into it, that is used in his mech?
Yes, it is decidedly something for the mech.
Mhm.
Okay.
If you'd gotten a 6, I would tell you what it was, but you did not get a 6.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Okay. Well, that's one half of this. The other half of it was, I think, something to do with seeing if you could be caterers? Is that right?
Yeah. So I had 2 ideas about how to go about this.
Uh-huh.
One is Laren just like on the grounds. I'm assuming they're like setting up or something,
Sure, yeah.
and just like finding the manager and trying to see if they have if they are looking for caterers.
Oh my god.
And in the meantime, I thought I would have the Hummingbird, Laren's ship,
Right.
just happen to go overhead and take an area, like an aerial scan of the area with Memo in charge.
So this sounds like you're doing a couple things. Do you think that the sort of camera is more on what you are doing or what your ship is doing?
I think the camera is more on what the ship is doing.
Okay. So that we get the sort of like the wide shot of you walking into, like you can see, like you walking over, you can see there's this massive hole where once there was like a city and people's homes and apartment buildings and shops, and they've just flattened it. Just completely flattened it for this. So you can see this coming a mile away. Unfortunately for you, I think this one is also going to be risky. There's other mechs flying around here, but again, it's big, wide, and open, right? If the Hummingbird's flying around, people will be able to see it from the ground. So it's more of how well can the Hummingbird do this, or how fast can the Hummingbird do this so that it doesn't pull too much attention.
Okay.
So I think this is risky standard. This is a scan, so give me a 2d6. Okay, man, y'all
Nice.
Yeah.
No problem, no failures. Easy peasy. So you get a full scan of this thing. I'll go ahead and move you to a version of this that doesn't have any of the other stuff on it yet. So it's just this big flattened space. And you can see here that they just basically have marked out rows for like mech parking in this big open flattened area. So they have a whole bunch of spots for that. If I were to like briefly, I'll just draw like big shapes. Yeah, big rectangles on this board. So you can see basically there's like a line here. There's a line here. There's another line here. So I'm basically drawing these like 5, 6 lines. And they have it set up so that the larger mechs are going to be further from this screen. Which you can see them setting up this big screen on basically one end of this big, massive, flattened area.
Gotcha, okay.
Think about how big the screen would have to be.
Yeah, it is incredibly wasteful. It is wild that they have done this.
All for 30 people.
So he's probably going to be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, so you know that this is a medium mech. And so if the medium mechs are supposed to be towards the middle of this massive space, then that's where you would assume he would be placed.
Great. Right in the middle of everything and everybody.
Exactly.
If we have medium mechs, though, we could get right next to them.
True.
I have a lore question detail about how is the sound the same thing at a real drive-through where you have to tune in the radio?
Yes, that is exactly it.
You have to tune into the local AM radio station.
They've got like a short-range broadcast thing set up. Your scan also reveals this, right? But it also reveals that they have, like, in this massive screen, part of the thing that makes it not just as wasteful as being a massive screen is that it's also housing some sort of like some like jamming thing, because what they don't want to do is to have somebody show up and like jam the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Communication in and out of this area is not possible while the OVA is showing.
So if we could get into the area, could we do some sort of tight beam broadcast just to him? Like, oh, it's an emergency. Get out.
That might be possible, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's the most tight beam of all is opening his mech.
Are we
tight.
going to be okay? So you can't communicate with the outside, and the outside can't communicate in. Are we going to be able to communicate with each other?
Yes.
while we're inside.
When inside, it's more like imagine a big circle. This is not at all how radio works.
Right.
Imagine,
It's like a force field almost.
yeah, a radio force field. We're in the future. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's right.
So do we still want to hit him while he's in there or on the way or after? It seems like this is messy. And we don't want to interrupt the OVA. One of our objectives there.
The issue with hitting him both coming and going is that there will still be a lot of people. I don't know if he's worried about somebody hurting him.
Right.
But being in a big crowd like that, I think, is probably your best bet for safety.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's also the time you have your guard the most down, too. I mean, who would get assassinated eating some French fries and a soda?
Well said.
If we could distract the other mechs, other escort, get them out of there. Sorry, I just ate a slice of pizza before walking into the meeting room real quick.
That's all right.
But if we could distract the other escort, keep them busy, tight frame, or maybe trick them into saying, hey, I need to go on a break. Can you watch this area for me real quick while Needs is enjoying the film? Just something to like kind of pull them away a little bit and make it more unsuspecting.
Totally.
Yeah.
It still sounds to me like a deception plan. So
end of the day,
I
it's
think
definitely deception.
we can always do flashbacks, right? If you all feel like you need more information. But to me, it sounds like what we could do here is we could have you roll the entanglement. Or sorry, not the entanglement, the engagement. Different EN word. The engagement roll with the assumption that what you're going to try to do is deceive your way in and to get needs must alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else before we go, and again, with the notion that you can flash back later, that you all want to know now?
I think we've got plenty of information. It's just piecing it together into a coherent plan.
Mm-hmm.
And, we can make it look coherent in the in reverse, in retrospect, right?
And abandon the plan completely when it all goes wrong.
Exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what this engagement role would look like. So, is the mission bold? Yes, I think so. You're going to try to kill a guy in a crowd, it sounds like, at an OVA showing. Very cool. Everybody likes this. Is the mission especially complex? No, I don't think so. You basically are just trying to get one of you onto his mech somehow and then shoot him in the head with some sort of excuse around like a pizza delivery or something.
Yeah, it's like when you order food at a fancy movie theater.
Right. Totally. So you're at 2 die right now. Does the mission exploit the target's vulnerabilities? Take +1d. Is the mission tactic ineffective against the target? Take -1d. I don't think this is either effective or ineffective. I think it's just sort of neutral. Is the squad receiving external support for the mission? Take +1d. Is anyone interfering with the mission other than the target? Take -1d. I don't think so. None of you have rivals right now that you've declared. and you're not getting external support. Maybe if you had come to the Farm Upstate,
honestly.
socially, honestly, that could have been something, but I don't think so. And then, are there any other factors affecting the mission? I'm going to give you one additional +1D here. And the primary reason for that is Mark 6. I didn't fully sell how great that great information should have been. And so maybe there's a little bit of extra, I don't know, this is up to you, Mark, but a little bit of extra scouting or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe he figures something else out about maybe like who is typically with the Nightjar.
Who the escort is.
And
get some
we
dirt
know
on them or something.
Well, we know a little bit more about, his escort and their tendencies and stuff.
Totally. Yeah. I'll go ahead and tell you that because I think that's like close enough. You know that he almost always travels with 4 coyotes, which are a standard Jomangelian mech. It's a medium-sized mech, but it's not a particularly good mech. They have no flight capabilities. I'll throw in an image just on here. You all have brought it up on the screen yourselves this time. Shout-outs to Hadrian and Austin for making a whole bunch of tokens for this.
Nice.
You can see, this is basically, for those listening, it's like a 2-legged mech with these like 2 missile racks where its arms otherwise would be. So this thing cannot fly for shit. It can shoot missiles up at something that is flying, but it has like no melee capacity whatsoever.
Excellent. So they're not a threat in close combat necessarily.
No. I think you could pretty easily pick up that this is mostly like a support mech, much more than it is, a heavy hitter or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to kind of think like, we shouldn't be interrupting the OVA broadcast. Nothing says we can't interrupt their personal broadcast.
Yeah.
Good distraction for the coyotes.
Okay, let's go ahead and roll this. You have 3 die, and then we can fictionally figure out what that actually means. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sure.
Topo, do you want to give me this?
Yeah, I'll do it.
You've only succeeded so far.
3d6.
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 Oh my
god!
There we go.
So that's a crit.
Crit.
Without a hitch.
And
a
a
marble
1.
crit.
So.
There's a 1 in the
6.
sandwich in between that, but like...
Before we do anything else, there's a special rule when you are deploying in Praxian Plaza. And that special rule, per Austin Ramsey, is that I need to roll an additional 1d6, and then we're going to have a complication of some sort that is also present at the scene. That is a 4. 4 is a crowd of armed protesters. Hell yeah. Okay, so I think what happens here...
God, that's funny.
Yeah. I think what happens here is that there's a whole bunch of people whose houses got flattened.
Yeah.
Who are like engaged in a shootout during this.
Nice.
They've set up.
Well,
Yeah.
So much for our rules of engagement.
No. None of your rules of engagement have been violated so far. What I think has happened is that Empress Gold and their cosplay mech volunteers have basically set up some sort of like siege line, essentially, or like improvised fortress walls of mechs, because I think these protesters are armed, but not in mechs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that like there's a whole bunch of just people-sized people like shooting, throwing Molotov cocktails and like shooting ARs at these mechs. And the mechs are basically ignoring it. But if they get too close, they're like doing a slow swipe because they're not interested in fighting these people, right? They just want to stop them from getting in, in the way of the OVA.
Yeah. Can you say a little bit more about what a cosplay mech looks like? Like, is it an actual combat mech or is it just like a facade
I'm
of a mech?
so glad you asked. Because there's an interesting thing that happens here, and you got a crit, and I'm going to respect that crit. But when you get there, I think you will arrive early, actually, right? That's part of this crit. So you all are there to begin with. I think that you all did manage to convince them that, like, you should be on site. Do you have, like, a food truck?
Oh, God.
If we can get away with having a food truck version, sure, why
Yeah.
not?
Y'all got a crit.
Yeah.
Y'all got money. And Tony will give you a food truck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Food truck.
Oh
I think
my
you
God.
have a food truck version, and your food truck is just like parked just off screen, basically, and you managed to convince them that you could like be here in case anybody wants to order a quick awful pizza, right? So you all are there way in advance before anybody even gets there. And Dorian, you're like a big CalazCon head, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you would recognize Tempestia's mech, the Noontide Squall, right?
Oh my God.
Fuck off.
So what happens is that like a whole bunch of mechs start like, wheeling in to this place. And then something that in the setting sun, you for a moment are convinced that Tempestia and the Noontide Squall are here. But then it moves forward into like the lights of the overhead lamps or whatever that they've installed. And you can see that that's not it. What's happened is that Needsmust is cosplaying his mech as the Noontide Squall.
Oh, yeah.
That he has strapped a whole bunch of like shitty black plexiglass basically to his awkward nightjar mech so that now it looks like the regal Noontide Squall. And you can see because of this, it is now classified as a heavy mech. And so it's in the back row,
Nice.
flanked by these 4 coyotes. So
That's so funny.
Amazing.
and I think this also tells you this other thing, which is that this OVA may just have been one of those ones that was inspired by the original Zero accountability.
Oh,
Tempestia's in this.
Oh, my God.
You all got a crit. So I'm happy to say that, like, you get past the first major, like, challenge here, right? You're in a controlled position for sure, for sure. And I'd say you get past the first major challenge. I think that you can get these 4 coyotes to, like, go elsewhere. Like, I think they're just gonzo, right? The rest of this remains, and you're still in a controlled position. Which of you wants to be in person, and which of you wants to be in your mechs here?
Dorian's definitely down to be in person. I mean, it is a mech in, but I have no reason to be in my mech.
Right, yeah. You're in your full PizZA, uniform, right?
Exactly.
Awesome.
I feel like it might make sense for Tobo to be hanging out in their mech just
Totally.
outside.
Can you describe like a fox?
No, I like a fox is me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
Can you
mine is
describe
Homer.
Homer.
Yeah. I can describe Homer. Homer is a dog-like quadruped, quadrupedal mech that has 2 tentacles coming off of its shoulders, with little grippers on the end, and a large sniper cannon mounted on the back.
Oh, I should have picked this earlier, but everyone needs to do load, both for themselves and their mechs.
I think my pilot gear is light,
Okay.
but my vehicle load is medium.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going medium.
Sure.
My pilot gear is medium, and my vehicle gear is light.
Okay.
For my pilot gear, I'm doing medium, and I'll probably do heavy gear for my mech if I ever end up getting in it.
Sure. Makes sense. Mark, for Homer, you said that Homer is just outside. Do you mean that Homer is like in like the nearest chunk of buildings?
Yeah, I think set up maybe. Is it possible to? Well, probably not. Yeah, probably. I was like, can I get on top of a building? Probably not here. I think
you got a crit.
Yeah.
I'm willing to let you be on top of a building.
Yeah, then I'll do it. I've clambered up probably via some rubble nearby.
Totally.
And,
there's a lot of it.
Yeah, hopped over to take up a position on the top of a nearby building so I can keep an eye on things and put some hurt on someone from a distance if I need to.
Perfect.
Are there other people trying to get illegal nosebleed seats for this OVA.
Yes, definitely.
That's so good.
In fact, we get an awesome shot of like somebody opening up the like rooftop access door to like see Homer there and then slowly closing it. They won't even get the sound, right? Like that's the thing. They're not going to get the sound, but they can watch it from a distance. I will say that if Homer is outside the range of this, you cannot get comms in and out. You can have sight, but you can't have comms.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Laren or Azara, Mariner or Ghost? Where are y'all?
I was looking through my vehicle gear and my pilot gear, and it gave me an idea of what I could be doing, which is...
Oh, yeah?
I'm a light mech.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm pretty small, and I also have something called fine optical camo, which is a coating or cloak that covers the vehicle, allowing it to almost seamlessly blend into its environment.
Nice.
And so my idea is because we got here before everybody else, can I just like sit in the corner and throw this gear on, throw this cloak on to just blend into the wall so that he doesn't see that I'm here?
You got a crit. I'm happy for that. And you're a light mech, right? So you're smaller?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just like in the corner,
yeah,
waiting for my moment.
The sizes are not going to work here because right now Dorian is the same size as Like a Fox, which is untrue. Speaking of, when Like a Fox is not cloaked, what does it look like?
So it's a humanoid mech, very like pointed hands and feet. Has like a cloak that can sort of. My touch point is the Predator movies and how the Predator's cloaking technology.
Okay.
And also the sort of hands have where the fist would be kind of like Wolverine claws.
Awesome.
Has like hidden Wolverines type claws that it's a very get in and get dirty mech. I don't think I have any like long range things.
Perfect. Well, that sounds great. And you're in there in the corner. So then Mariner, you're the only one left. Are you in person? Are you the Hummingbird?
I think I'm in person, as much as I love the Hummingbird. It is a giant plane.
Right.
This is a mech in, not a plane in. I don't think there's really going to be anywhere for it to maneuver here. And anywhere else I stick it, it's going to be out of comms range. So I think I have to go in on foot.
Are you just at the food truck with Dorian?
Yeah, I think that's where I start.
Okay. Cool. And I never got you to describe Hummingbird, even though it was on screen earlier doing a scan. Can you give us a brief,
sure.
What the heck does this thing look like?
It is a giant airship. It is, oh god, I forget what the model was, but it is a swiped corporatocracy vessel, technically.
Yeah.
The big thing, and the reason why it is called a Hummingbird, is because it vaguely kind of emulates the shape with like this very long kind of like lance almost that is kind of like its primary weapon, very similar to like the very long beak of the Hummingbird. I already described the undercarriage where it can be harnessing and carrying various mechs.
Right.
Beyond that, it kind of has like a similar shape and profile to kind of like, like the stealth bombers.
Sure, yeah.
But it's more of like a VTOL kind of like setup engine wise.
Sure. That totally makes sense. And you do have that, away right now, but at any point you could have that fly in and drop Dorian's mech as well.
Yes.
If things go south.
Yeah. If we can get the word out.
Sure, yeah, true.
There is also a question, do I need to position where Memo is?
I thought Mem was just like a proxy hanging out in...
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't know necessarily how we would want to handle that, so...
Does she have a physical presence of some sort?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe she's got a server on the Hummingbird or something.
Right, that would make sense.
But like no like physical body, no.
Okay, so in that case, I think that given how Mem works, and specifically some stuff about how Laren is composed, I'll say. Don't want to, no spoilies.
Sure.
I think that Mem can still communicate with you. So you could potentially use that as a route to communicate in and out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just to set the scene. The sun has set. It is now dark. There is some lights that they've affixed to like nearby buildings, including the one that Homer and Topo inside Homer is set up in, or set up on, I should say. But that's dimmed now. So it's basically pretty dark, except for the front sort of row area, and then further back as the light reaches, which is now bathed in the glow anime, basically. Whatever Beam Saber anime looks like. Imagine that to your heart's content. So, you all need to kill Needs Must. Needs Must is inside a shitty cosplay of his boss's mech. What do you all do?
Additional bullet point.
Yes.
Are we still thinking of stealing the whole mech? Or are we just taking the whatever the tech dongle is
I think
if we can
it's
find it?
like pocket sized, like grab it.
Okay.
It would seem hard to take the mech.
I don't think it'd be
Wait,
that
hold on.
hard to take the mech. I was planning on it, honestly.
I mean, we can.
I think if you could drive it out under its own power, you probably can, but I think if we, like, swoop in...
Mm-hmm.
One of us pilots his mech.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think if somebody pilots it, you can probably get it out, but I think if if the hummingbird swooped in and just, like, grabbed it, that would probably interrupt the OVA.
Yeah.
We'll get there when we get there. But I do think it's going to be like okay, I'm now in the mech, and now we're walking out, and now I'm immediately flying away.
Oh. Wait, hang on. I just had a huge brainwave. Okay, so we said that we already established it, like, this is kind of sort of, this OVA, like, has Tempestia in it, right? So this guy's just getting a complimentary pizza for winning our winning our cosplay competition.
I was
right?
on that same
Absolutely.
brainwave.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did you say that over the comms?
Oh yeah,
Like our comms, I mean?
So, Dorian, I'm sorry, I'm a little out of the loop with all this, Calazar. So is that what they call cosplay?
I mean, it's a good attempt at it.
Don't they have like competitions and stuff for that? I think I remember somebody having wasn't there like a big parade that went by past the storefront like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago? It was like doing some sort of contest like that.
Yeah, but that's all the companies who have sponsored CalazCon over the years, and then all the brand deals, and they bring out their favorite mechs of the series. But I mean, there's some competitions that go on. We could.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a real competition.
Yeah, but do they really deserve it?
Oh my god.
Do they really?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to say they don't deserve it when we pull a gun on them.
Yes.
All right.
Are there any other heavy mechs in the back?
No, this is the
Okay.
only one.
Hmm.
Again, because you've scared away the coyotes, right?
Right.
I think you get the sense that, like, oh, this was supposed to be like assigned seating or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And without them, it's just by itself.
So lonely.
So what do y'all think? Do you think this guy likes pineapple on his pizza, pepperoni?
Oh my god.
Oh boy, I think it doesn't matter. We're not actually giving him a pizza, guys. I hope you know that.
I already rolled out the dough and started putting toppings on it.
Oh shit.
Dorian, I'm going to need you to give me a fortune roll to see how good you are at making this pizza.
Can I use my opening and my history of being in the food service to make it pretty damn good?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you a +1 for that. And then I think this is probably a finesse. That's about the closest I think we've got to pizza making as a pilot action.
Honestly? Yeah, probably.
DMing Austin.
Give me a 2d6.
Fuck.
There we go.
Wait, I meant to ask for a collateral die. I got so distracted by it, I forgot to ask for one.
This is just a fortune roll. How did you do this? Wait, so you did 2d6, but then I gave it a 2.
Yeah, so I accidentally added an
I think
end
it
bracket.
rolled but I think that meant that it just rolled like a 2. Like it just gave you a 2. Give me the full 2d6 again, I think.
Okay. Well,
even if you just replace the 1, it would still.
Yeah. So I think that you did succeed. You made the pizza that you imagined. What is this pizza?
so there is actually a high school academy cut of CalazCon where it's the main cast, but they're all high school students now, and they're all still in their mechs. And there is one
God.
episode where they basically have a pizza party, and one of the very beloved varieties that every character loves is like a black oil squid with mozzarella and provolone shredded cheese on top.
Okay.
This is actually disgusting, but hardcore fans love it.
Right,
because they want to
force
love
themselves
it.
to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's got like a basil pesto sauce.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
I was kind of on board up until the pesto.
Content warning for bad pizza this whole time. This whole time.
Yeah, that's a squad wide content warning.
The greatest crimes we commit are against food.
We'll see. I think you're going to beat out that crime soon. Laren, as the captain, do you try to inform Topo about what's going on?
Would it? So you mentioned that I could communicate to the outside with
Through Mem,
Mem.
yeah.
Can she relay that to
Yeah.
Topo?
She could. Has she talked to Topo before?
Ooh.
I would
Probably.
think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would think that generally Memo would be trying to make an active effort
Okay. So everybody knows
to.
Memo.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. What's the message? How does this work? Does Memo show up on Homer's dash? Or is this like a text message?
Honestly, a lot of the stuff I imagine with Memo is kind of like heads-up display type stuff.
Sure.
So I think when he's in his mech, like wearing his helmet, there'll be like a little ping, like message for you, sir. They would get like a brief little, not quite like an email, but just like a quick, just like, I don't know, like 2-line like notepad telling them what's going on.
Sounds great.
Nice.
Is Topo wearing a helmet?
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
I'm always
Okay.
like dialed in there.
Perfect.
But on the job, just like super focused.
Okay, so this sounds to me like either Laren or Dorian needs to give me some sort of role about you walking up to this mech with a pizza.
I will do it.
Can I do a flashback really quickly?
Sure. What kind of flashback you want?
Well, I have a piece of pilot gear called a firearm silencer.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I would like to give this to one of the two of them. Probably Laren, because I think that Dorian is too eager.
Maybe
My specific
fair.
belief is that Dorian is way too eager for this work, and I think that
Yeah.
I want to give you a silencer.
Yeah, I think that's a 2-stress flashback, probably.
Cool. That's fair.
So mark those.
This is a good silencer. I don't want to lose it.
no,
and I
for
think
sure.
I say as much. Please don't lose this.
Okay. Do I have to mark this on my gear as well? Or
Does
will
it
it,
have
will it be
any
taking up
weights?
space?
It has it's a 0
Yeah,
load.
Yeah, then
Okay.
don't worry about it. Okay. So, we're back to the roll. To me, this sounds like it might be a sway. And specifically, is it both of you going up to the mech?
I mean,
Or is it only one of you?
I think it's both of
Yeah.
us.
Okay. Then this could be a sway with one of you leading the actions. It's a group sway.
yeah.
I was going to say whoever doesn't do it would be assisting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure, you could also do it that way.
Yeah, I can assist. That'd be, 1 stress?
Yes.
Since we're still at, yeah.
Yeah, you only have one belief. What is your belief, if you have one, with Dorian?
So, my belief with Dorian is Dorian's a good kid and a better recruit, but he'll crack if I push him too hard.
So what does it look like when you're helping Dorian sell that you are carrying a prize-winning pizza, or a word pizza?
So, the way I imagine the scene is Dorian is the one doing the talking,
Right.
and Laren is the one holding the pizza with like a little like one of those little like sprinklers on it.
Right, totally. I love this. Okay. Dorian, you have 1 in sway, you have 1 help, you're in controlled standard right now. Do you want to push yourself? Do you want to hear a devil's bargain, etc.?
Yeah. Do we have that rule in place where I can trade position for more effect?
Of course, yeah, that's a default Beam Saber rule.
I would love to push this to, oh god, we're in controlled though, damn. If it was risky, I'd push it to
You could be
desperate.
risky.
Aha!
You could be
No
risky great,
experience for
though.
you.
Yeah. I'll still do risky great.
Sure.
And
Love a risky consequence.
what would you have for a collateral die?
So I think that the collateral die would be that someone who's one of these like onlookers, who's like trying to watch the OVA despite not having a ticket, they're going to spot the two of you heading towards this mech.
Witnesses.
This will not break the rules of engagement.
Yeah.
Not on
Not
its
yet.
own, anyway. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to take that because I have a few thoughts for the actions to come.
Okay. So you're at risky, great, 2 benefits, so 3 dice, I think.
Yep.
Give me a 3d6.
All right. There's a 6.
Oh my god.
Nice.
You will only
Let's go.
succeed.
This is perfect because immediately in sessions 2 and 3, our luck is going to go against us.
Of course.
We're going to get busted just in time for the grand finale.
We'll be at -3 with 4 other factions. 2 of them will be of our own team.
So what's this look like?
Yeah. It's kind of Alamo Draft House. Have you all been to an Alamo Draft House?
Yes.
I'm in
Yeah,
Austin,
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking of. Yeah.
That was also what I
Yeah.
was picturing.
So, this is like the worst version of Alamo Draft House, where like the guy doesn't even try to duck under the screen. It's actually just a pop-up right in the middle of a battle scene. And it's just Dorian beaming a message that says, "Congratulations, you've won our prize for a fresh pizza from episode blank of the blank series." And Dorian says, "If you can go ahead and open up your cockpit, we're going to go ahead and get you this pizza, get you all squared away. We got some napkins. We got a free drink with it as well. You were just so outstanding. We were told by the person who put this together that you deserve this prize." I think it's just like overwhelmingly kind hospitality. It's like, okay, if I just accept this quickly, they will shut the fuck up and leave.
Topo, you've got a good view of the screen. What is happening on screen during this?
Oh, man. I think this is a dramatic moment with... I don't think Topo watches any of this, so it's just 2
Perfect.
characters, a man and a woman, facing shots. Something dramatic and emotional is happening. Maybe he's crying, but you can tell there's like something brewing in the background. Like there's storm clouds coming in. And as the emotion ramps up, we know something is about to happen there.
Perfect. So the 2 of you managed to get closer, right? No problems there. Move you to, yep. Move you up there. Perfect. I think that what happens here is this a 2-way communication? Cole?
I think they can tell. It's so this way they can also request food to be delivered.
Or if they
Sure.
have, like allergies or something.
Yeah.
So then Needs Must comes on the comm. Needs Must has this like, I'm better than you attitude, but a very nasally voice. And he's like, I didn't hear about any costume contest.
Well, I mean, the way this was supposed to work out is it was supposed to be a grand surprise. We wanted people to come out and dress up for the bit. Unfortunately, the promoter dropped
Yes,
the ball.
of course. Obviously, I knew that.
Yeah. And of course, you see the way everyone else out here looks. No one's going to look like the, what's the name of Tempestuous mech again? The Squall?
The
Noontide
Noontide.
Squall.
Yeah, no one else is coming out here looking like the Noontide Squall.
That is true. I am the #1 Noontide Squall fan.
We need to
All
kill
right,
this
give
guy
me a
right
second.
now.
The whole mech beams down. The mech is sort of this, again, like bird-like, like headed mech, but has like a humanoid body underneath. And the whole mech kneels down. You 2 tiny humans in front of this giant mech. And then what was the torso, because again, this is really a medium-sized mech just wearing cosplay armor functionally. What was the torso of this mech opens, and you can see that's where the Nightjar's head actually is.
Yeah.
And it's the Nightjar's massive mouth opening. I think what they say is, you can just leave it. You can just leave it inside the mouth. I'll grab it. I don't want to step away from the screen.
So we can't actually see them.
No, I should describe
This is
better.
not the cockpit. Okay.
This is not the cockpit. There is inside the mouth. This is not how real Nightjars work. Don't worry. So there's a whole bunch of like serrated teeth. Like this thing chomps, and it chomps mechs. And then past those, but that's like flat on the ground. So you could easily step over them, right? It's like 2 feet of these serrated like teeth. And then past that, you can see there what would be like the throat opening, right? That's sealed off, and instead there's like a vault door functional there.
Oh, that got more complicated real quick. All right.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at CVBlight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find all of their work at devindecibel.com. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.